So, our main focus of this video will be a comparison and analysis of West Side Story and Rigoletto.
Both performances offered many eye-opening aspects about the ability of a performance to last the test of time. To us, West Side Story seemed more well adapted to the modern era of the 1960s, and Rigoletto failed to live up to the same expectations.
As many of you may know, West Side Story is based on the tale of Romeo and Juliet, a tale of star-crossed lovers. The modernization of this tale was definitely a success, but with this success comes some shortcomings.
Why do you say that, Clark?
I realized that by modernizing any tale, some aspects of the original story are lost in the translation, figuratively and literally.
I feel the same way. I noticed some differences between the plots of West Side Story and Romeo and Juliet. The largest one of which is that Maria does not die and instead reveals the lessons of hatred learned by the story to her friends and adversaries.
The film was also geared toward younger audiences, and unlike the Shakespearean era of entertainment, there are certain topics that are touchy when portrayed in film and other media, especially media aimed at children, such as suicide.
I think it is important to recognize that this results in divergent plots between West Side Story and Romeo and Juliet, making West Side Story only loosely based on Romeo and Juliet. West Side Story also adapted itself to be more relatable to the preferences of modern audiences successfully, unlike Rigoletto did.
Yes, I see what you are saying. West Side Story's use of Broadway-style dancing and singing helped to grab the attention of the audience, which is a task extremely difficult to do in this day and age. West Side Story also covers topics of racism, immigration, gang violence, and police brutality, all to which the audience of the 1960s could relate.
And this aspect of relating to the audience is what Rigoletto lacks. Opera is an art that does not attract a large portion of modern audiences. It is more of an archaic art form. Its original purpose of being able to perform a show in front of a large audience without any microphones by having the performers sing was genius. But now we have microphones making this type of theater more for individuals with an acquired taste for the sound and style, since the technique is obsolete.
It is also difficult for today's generation to relate to a story in which a man's daughter is easily kidnapped and the main object of despair is dishonor.
I definitely agree with you on that, and I would like to add that having the performance set in 1960s Las Vegas did not help make the tale of Rigoletto any more relatable. If anything, it only made it more implausible. There's no such thing as a duke in this time period and setting. Secondly, the 1960s Las Vegas scene was characterized with promiscuity, an idea that is not accepted in the tale of Rigoletto unless you are the duke or the quarters, of course.
Rigoletto fell short in comparison to West Side Story when it came to having a prominent message as well. The only possible message of Rigoletto would be that it is wrong to be mean to others, but this idea is only loosely enforced since the Duke, who is the cruelest of all the characters, has a happy ending. West Side Story, on the other hand, clearly has a message in which it conveys that differences among races and ethnicities of people should not separate us.
Clark, before you said that with modernization, some aspects of the performances are lost in translation, figuratively and literally. That reminded me of how, since Rigoletto is in its original Old Italian, some of the words do not translate into English well. This causes an issue when trying to relate the performance to modern audiences, in that some of the words do not fit into the plot, such as babe and home run.
Matt, didn't you also speak about a language barrier in class?
Yes, I did. Thanks for reminding me. Since Rigoletto is an Old Italian, it makes it difficult and less appealing for modern audiences in the United States, even some Italian speakers, despite it being set in a modern time. With social media technology and the availability of endless information through the internet, our generation has a limited attention span, when it comes to things that are foreign and that we do not easily understand.
All of this conversation has really opened my mind to how complex the world of arts is.
I feel the same exact way.
There is so much more that goes into a story than just a plot line. History is involved in many stories to make it appealing to audiences at certain points in time, which is why it is so difficult to modernize an older performance. It is like trying to make a typewriter use Google. This becomes even more apparent when one story is based exactly on another. This makes it important to look at the story with a context of the time period it was written in order to gain a complete understanding of the tale and its evolution.
Wow, Clark. I would definitely say that was an aha moment.